The second Gulf of Sidra incident occurred on 4 January 1989 when two United States Navy F-14 Tomcats shot down two Libyan MiG-23 floggers that appeared to have been attempting to engage them, as had happened 8 years prior in the first Gulf of Sidra incident, in 1981. History. Background: in 1973 Libya claimed much of the Gulf of Sidra as its territorial waters and subsequently declared a «line of death», the crossing of which would invite a military response. Tensions between Libya and the U.S. were high after the U.S. accused Libya of building a chemical weapons plant near Rabte, causing the U.S. to deploy the US John F. Kennedy near its coast. A second carrier group, based around the US Theodore Roosevelt, was also being prepared to sail into the Gulf of Sidra. Engagement on the morning of 4 January 1989, the Kennedy Battle Group was operating some 130 kilometers north of Libya, with a group of A-6 intruders on exercise south of Crete, escorted by two pairs of F-14s from VF-14 and VF-32, and as well as an E-2C from VAW-126. Later that morning, the southernmost combat air patrol station was taken by two F-14s from VF-32, and the officers had been specially briefed for this mission due to the high tensions regarding the carrier group's presence. The pilots were advised to expect some kind of hostilities. At 11:50 a.m., after some time on patrol, the E-2 informed the F-14 crews that four Libyan MiG-23s had taken off from Al-Bumba airfield, near Tobruk. The F-14s from VF-32 turned towards the first two MiG-23s some 50 kilometers ahead of the second pair and acquired them on radar, while the Tomcats from VF-14 stayed with the A-6 group. At the time, the floggers were 72 nautical miles away at 10,000 feet and heading directly towards the Tomcats and carrier. The F-14s turned away from the head-on approach to indicate that they were not attempting to engage. The floggers changed course to intercept at a closing speed of about 870 knots. The F-14s descended to 3,000 feet to give them a clear radar picture of the floggers against the sky and leave the floggers with sea clutter to contend with. 4 more times the F-14s turned away from the approaching MiGs. Each time the Libyan aircraft turned in to continue to close. At 11:59 the radar intercept officer of the lead Tomcat ordered the arming of the M9 Sidewinder and AIM-7 Sparrow missiles it was carrying. The E-2C had given the F-14 crews authority to fire if threatened. The F-14 crews did not have to wait until after the Libyans opened fire. At almost 12:01 the lead Tomcat Rio said that bogies have jinked back at me again for the 5th time. They're on my nose now, inside of 20 miles, followed shortly by Master Armon, as he ordered arming of the weapons. At a range of 14 nautical miles the Rio of the lead F-14A fired the first AIM-7M Sparrow. He surprised his pilot, who did not expect to see a missile accelerate away from his Tomcat. The Rio reported, Fox 1. The Sparrow failed to track because of a wrong switch setting. At 10 nautical miles, he launched a second Sparrow missile, but it also failed to track its target. The floggers accelerated and continued to approach. At 6 nautical miles the Tomcats split and the floggers followed the wingmen while the lead Tomcat circled to get a tail angle on them. The wingmen fired a third Sparrow from 5 nautical miles and downed one of the Libyan aircraft. The lead Tomcat by now had gained the rear quadrant on the final flogger. After closing to 1.5 nautical miles the pilot fired a Sidewinder, which hit its target. The Tomcats proceeded north to return to the carrier group. The Libyan pilots were both seen to successfully eject and parachute into the sea, but the Libyan Air Force was unable to recover them. Aftermath: it is unknown why the two MiGs operated in this manner, or why the Libyans did not launch a successful rescue operation to recover the pilots. The following day, the Libyans accused the U.S. of attacking two unarmed reconnaissance planes, but the footage, also called the gun camera videos, showed that the Libyans had been armed with AA-7 Apex missiles. Depending on the model, this can be either a semi-active radar homing missile, or an infrared homing missile. Identifications of the Tomcats vary, and the narrative above used the details from Air Aces. However, another source identifies the wingman as AC-202 rather than AC-204. Both agree on AC-207 as the lead. Legacy F-14 Tomcat Bunos 159,437, 159,610 at the request of the National Air and Space Museum. The U.S. Navy provided Buno 159,610 to its Udvar-Hazy location near Dulles International Airport. Although Tomcat Buno 159,610 downed the Libyan MiG-23 as a VF-32 F-14A model Tomcat, it returned from that deployment and was entered into the F-14D remanufacture program and served later in a precision strike role as a VF-31 F-14D. As of August 2015, update, Buno 159,437 is still resting at the Aircraft Maintenance and Restoration Group facility just outside Davis-Monthan AFB. This aircraft is one of 7 F-14s currently remaining in the AMARG complex and has not been scrapped due to impending museum placement. If Buno 159,437 becomes a museum exhibit, it is likely to be placed on the US John F. Kennedy once the ship becomes a museum itself.